In this segment, I'm going to talk about goodwill. Goodwill is a foundation point of good writing. If we don't incorporate goodwill into a lot of our documents, what can often happen is that we're going to be counterproductive in getting the results that we're looking for from our reader. Over the years, I've met many people who have admitted to me that they have actually gone against what the writer has asked of them because they didn't like the tone. Imagine that you receive a letter, and in that letter there is a sentence that begins the paragraph that reads, "We can't complete your claim because you didn't submit the correct paperwork." That's a pretty negative way to start a correspondence. It also blames the reader. Would you want to cooperate with that type of organization? Would you have positive feelings about working with that organization? I'm going to now share with you some ideas to help you incorporate goodwill into your documents. You'll notice that I have quite a long list of ideas. Many of these ideas you can incorporate in one document. You'll be very surprised how much your document can change. As I begin to look at this list, at the top it reads, "State a benefit, a reason." It's important to not just tell your reader what you need them to do, but to give them a reason to get some of that buy-in, and even better, a benefit. If you can give a benefit to the reader, then you're going to further motivate them to complete that action. So it's really important to motivate our readers, not just through giving a reason, but through offering benefits. Setting timelines. We like to give our readers timelines so that we know what to expect of them. And again, tell them why that timeline is necessary. Avoid blaming the reader. From that sample I imagined a few moments ago, we can see that if you blame someone, instantly their back might go up and they might feel less inclined to work with you in a cooperative way. Format for accessibility. Formatting is really important to get our message across, and therefore if you offer your reader a well-formatted document, they will understand more clearly what you need from them. Include a self-addressed stamp envelope. I realize that not all organizations are able to provide a stamped envelope. However, we can, for the most part, include an addressed envelope, and that's one way to help your reader accomplish what you're wanting them to do, which might be to send back a document. Also, we have negative language. Using negatives such as no and not is something that we want to avoid. And one way that we can avoid that is by using a prefix like un. By that I mean, instead of having a sentence that might read that I have not decided on doing something, I can say I am undecided. It's a small change, but people notice these small changes. I also have on the board here, opening your letter with a thank you. Not only does this establish goodwill, but it also gives a point of reference for why you have communicated this message with the reader. Also on our list of ideas is the desire to eliminate bulky bureaucratic language. The more bulk, the more bureaucratic language you have in a document, the greater the distance you are going to create between the writer and the reader. Let's look at the second part of the list. Focus on a positive present or future. This is such an important point to writing with goodwill. We want to think about what we can and will do as writers for the reader in order to help them accomplish that task. And that ties into the next bullet, eliminate past negatives. We can't change the past. In writing, we don't need to dwell on the past negatives. Let's focus on what we can and will do. That shift in attitude is one of the most important components. So as I mentioned, here is the point on emphasizing the positives. Below that, we have two components regarding personal pronouns. Instead of repeating a phrase similar to the government, the government, the government, which starts to create this big looming shadow, use pronouns like I, you, and we to connect. And not only do I encourage you to use pronouns, but to balance your pronouns. Because if you imagine a document that is constantly repeating I, it gets very demanding. And you're not going to want to read a document from a very demanding individual, let alone cooperate. So balance your pronouns. You don't have to make it 50-50, but notice that you want to have a balance. Also on this list, we have provide a contact name and number. If someone does have a question, they know who to contact and they know how to contact that person. And then finally, a very important point as well is to eliminate any unnecessary jargon, and that includes legalese. If you need to quote legalese in your documents, that might be part of policy, but that does not mean that you don't have to rephrase it in the letter so that your reader will understand. So if we take all of these ideas and we think back to that imaginary sentence I created earlier of we can't complete your claim because you didn't send in the correct documents, and we start to incorporate some of these ideas that I've introduced to you, we can start to imagine this letter beginning with a paragraph such as, "Thank you for submitting your claim. For us to complete your claim, we require some more documentation from you." That would be your introduction. There's no negativity, there's no blame, there's no past negatives. Your middle paragraph would expand on all of the information you need from that reader and how you're going to help them accomplish that. And then the closing would state, if you have any questions, you can contact me at, and again, provide a name, a number. So that's a basic way that you can begin this approach to creating goodwill.